Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. Let's discuss about genuine research, particularly in medical sciences. So-called the subjective objective research and also integrated design of nature, so that research should be perfect to the level it should be mathematically conclusive. I am not talking of subjective things in philosophy and otherwise. I am talking about science, mathematically precise, concise, to the point, which can be used in divine mathematics, divine physics, divine chemistry, divine biology, and divine medical sciences. Now let's discuss what genuine research as it is known in the public domain through AI and Google and other things. So what is said is genuine research modules refer to the individual discrete steps are components of research process that adheres to rigorous academic and ethical standards to ensure the findings are reliable, valid, and contribute new knowledge to a field. So that way this particular definition is absolutely correct. It should lead to new knowledge, but it should be perfect in every level. What I find is, if it is not mathematically conclusive to one stage, that particular research is no relevance at all, including Nobel laureates' work. Now each module is a building block in the overall study and conducted systematically and objectively. And I do agree, subjective, objective, systematic, logical, another thing is individual thing which should not leave any result to be questioned by anyone for further research. And research should lead to an impeccable wisdom which is beyond any comparison. That is a spiritual science, that is a science, that is mathematical, which I am talking about. I am not talking of something which people do and people find fault and then do and then go on find. In the research of maths, physics, chemistry, biology, medical sciences, all the science subjects, research has not come to the conclusion at all. If there is one person who has brought it to conclusion, is Shiv Bhushan Sharma with Devyank, the divine design of nature, with which all the questions of maths, physics, chemistry, biology and medical sciences can be resolved. And that is the genuine research which I am talking about. Now come to the modules, that let's understand the different systems, different parts of research, the way it should be done. First, it should be systematic and logical. It should not have any doubt. Each module follows a plan, step-by-step process based on sound reasoning to eliminate every error, and I mean eliminate. Come to all the defects should be eliminated, not find fault and add new faults. That is not research, I am very clear, and that is what it is all about. And ensure a clear line from hypothesis to mathematical conclusion. You PhD mean doctorate of philosophy, and that is hypothesis, that is philosophy, that is idea. From the moment the idea comes, it should lead to a stage which is mathematically conclusive. If it is not mathematically conclusive and further defects are there and suppositions are there, that is not the research which I am talking about. No further research is required, and that's end. Have you ever seen such a conclusive research where nobody can find fault at all? I still remember I was given 1.5 hours for my viva for my PhD work. I presented the whole thing in 15 minutes and left the entire subject for 75 minutes for discussion. I am very happy to say not even one question was ever raised by anybody to find fault with my work, which was explained in 15 minutes only. And incidentally, the time was taken by another conductor or another PhD scholar to cover his research, and that precision should be. For that matter, my PhD work, which was completed in 2001 as a highly commendable, put forth similarity of plagiarism, and I am very happy to say that it was zero similarity as such, no plagiarism. Not even 1% was seen anywhere in the entire PhD work. I don't think any other PhD work can take such a claim that not even 1% is similar with anything, but still highly commendable, unique, unusual, path breaking, and everything. That is the system which I am going to talk about it. Now come to the question, it should be empirical research. Genuine research is based on observable and measurable evidence collected from real world observations or experimentation rather than theory of opinion. You start with opinion, you start from a theory, you start from hypothesis. But it should be based on something which is logical, empirical, which is going to be conclusive by and large. And unless until you come to that stage, that research has no relevance at all. Even Nobel laureates, I put them into defective, defective, and defective. No wonder even father's work, Nobel laureate is based for the son. Even Einstein, the greatest scientist, is found to be defective by others. That is not the research. Both subjective and objective should be together, not just objective. Objective without subjective experience has also no relevance at all. Should the researcher be the subject? That has been a question. And I am very sorry to say, one of the dictations given by doctorate of research is the researcher should never be a subject. And I can tell you, if the researcher doesn't experience anything, he will never be able to do a research. His body should experience that, and with that experience he should do the research. Only then he can model. He cannot expect somebody else to reproduce what he has in mind. He has to do research with what he has experienced, and that opinion will be 1,000 times better because he knows what he has experienced, what he is going to do, and what is further. That research will be something, that is exactly the research which I am talking about. Now come to the objective and unbiased. It should be very logical. There should not be any bias, no doubt whatsoever. Findings are free from personal feelings. I had, I felt, I wanted. That should not be the question. Interpretation and prejudice should not be there at all. As you think, it should be there. And I am very sorry to say, as a PhD research scholar as well as guide, I have seen people, they have research objective in mind and they tinker with methodology to produce the result just for the degree sake. That is not the research, and 99% of the research is like that only. They have, this has been done, this should be the objective, we should do things only to produce the result. As if it is only that, that is not research, that is copycat defective thing, and I mean it. The research designed careful plan to yield objective results which cannot be found fault at all. The research should be performed with sophisticated error-free instruments only, and I make it very clear. Greatest contribution as on today have a fantastic equipment, highly sophisticated and can do wonders put together. Technologically, the world has come to a very high level throughout the world, including India. Equipment is fantastic, but unfortunately, people don't even know how to use those equipments. What they can do, you have no idea. And that should also be understood. They should be practical, cost effective, and be in a position to understand the thing which those equipment can do, and I have done that. I am going to show you as we move on. Then it should be replicable and verified. And I do agree. If the research cannot be replicated, verified, that research has no balance at all, there is no role at all, there is no use. Procedures are described in sufficient detail to allow other researchers to repeat the study and verify the findings, which embrace the study's reliability and credibility. That is absolutely essential. If the research cannot be done by somebody else, it's going to be hidden other thing. That research has no meaning at all. It should be in the public domain. And equipment should be easily available. They should be cost effective, and it should be as open as even a child should be in a position to do. If that is not the research, then it has no. For that matter, it is 2001 my research was done, and it is 24 years and nobody has been able to repeat it or verify it. And I understand reason, because the kind of consciousness, the concentration and contemplation with which I had worked for my PhD work from 1991 to 2001, 10 years, nobody has even tried to do that. That is something which has to be done by the person. Like Wagner's memory, he was the first person to did work on his own self. As a subject, he produced wonders. same Shibhushan Sharma as a subject, what he experienced during Kundalini Yoga is what he produced in physiology Kundalini power spectrum analysis, because he had experienced that. And unless until the researcher is able to experience, that kind of research cannot be verified for somebody who hasn't experienced it. That's exactly my point is. For replicable and verifiable, the subject should be reliable. He should have experience. If he has not experienced, you are doing a research on something which is just for nothing. Now come to the valid and reliable. Validity ensures the study measured what it claims to measure, while reliability ensures consistent results under similar conditions. That exactly my point is. If you have experienced it, you have done studies, you have found things, and you will be able to improve upon the result as you move on. And I am going to show you in this particular study what it was started, how it improved, how beautifully it has gone on to produce reliability as consistently improving to the stage. Finally come to the stage that you come to give the world Divyang for the first time in the history of mankind, do things for the first time. But initially it should be reliable and valid. With consistent practice and wisdom, even the highest objective can be easily achieved. That is my point. If you want to be the best in the world, most reliable, perfect, you can do it provided you really understand it. Otherwise, not possible. That's what Shibhushan Sharma produced a predominant and coherent alpha frequency of 8 Hz throughout his brain with open eyes, which is for the first time in the world, in the history, anybody has ever done. But that is a stage which is universal consciousness, and because of that he could see the universe as such and give the world Divyang, the divine design of nature, for the first time, which can change the whole world by and large. That is what reliability and validity is all about. Now come to the ethical practice. High ethical standards are applied throughout the process, ensuring the projection of participate, data, integration, everything is open to everybody. If the research is not open to anybody and everybody cannot see it, that research has no ethical value, it cannot be done, it has to be hidden, another thing, that research has no value. It should be done with an open mind. A non-invasive experiment without any defect should be the criterion for genuine research. And I do not want internal thing, it should be non-invasive, no problem, persons should be completely at rest, and there should not be defect in the research. And I would be only talking of that, and particularly in my case. Every experiment is in the public domain, nothing is hidden, anybody and everybody can take, and everybody should be in a position to produce the results and see the data and give the conclusion which nobody can find fault with. Then come to the contribute to the knowledge. The ultimate goal is to generate new concepts, methodologies, and understanding that advance knowledge and practice in a specific field to the extent nobody can find fault with. And I really mean it. Ultimate genuine research is Divyang, the divine design, which I have done it, Shibhushan Sharma has done, and number is given down 22 by 21 to the power of 10.344 equivalent to 1.6180. No one in the world has ever given this divine mathematics till date. It was recognized, conceived and revealed for the first time in 2015 only. But with this, every defect of mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology and medical sciences can be rectified once for all, and will eliminate all the defects, come to the stage with which the universe has been made from the beginning till end, and that is a consistency, that is a genuine research. Now come to the components of the research. First should be introduction or problem statement. What are the defects in research? First find that out. Have very clearly define the research problems and questions and its importance, what we are going to see. As in my case, objective was there is research in yoga, and particularly in yoga nobody had done any research on that, so it was a starting point. But it has gone to the stage that nobody can find fault. But unfortunately is no person is able to experience that within that is not the defect of the research, that is the individual have not worked to that an extent. That should be clear. So that way, all inclusive review or literature should be there. What has been done before the eliminate all the defects and give the work the presentation as such, then have the objective and then have the methodology, things to do work as objectively step by step to the extent which will remove all the defects. Ultimate objective should be impeccable wisdom, flawless, integrated without any difficulty. Now come to the second is literature review. A comprehensive research and evaluation of existing relevant studies to identify knowledge gaps is absolutely essential, thoroughly 100%. Not even one area should be left. But I am coming to one step, but unfortunately in the research of today, the researchers and supervisors insist only 5 years of research paper. They do not go from the very beginning itself. Whereas in my research of PhD, process started 3000 old books, 5000 old books, started from there how it started and worked it out step by step, and then come to the latest, all the available literature. It was extensive, and that is what is appreciable, which should be thoroughly without even single gap left. Whatever work has been done by others should be understood completely and then only come to conclusion. With a deficient review, you will have deficient research itself. Then come to the data collection and procedure. Actual process of gathering accurate data through experiments, and I mean experiments, surveys, interviews or observation should be. I would prefer do experiments which are scientific in nature. Interviews, others could also be a part, but without an objective research has no meaning at all, because there will be a lot of bias, lot of question. That research I have never encouraged and never wanted it and never do it. I prefer pure objective scientific research only, not subjective alone, objective, mathematically conclusive. Then next component is the data analysis and interpretation. Objective proceeding, the processing and analysis of the collected data for using statistical tools or thematic coding to mathematical conclusion. You can use the different statistics required to find it out. If there is no need, there is no need. But the question is, data should be collected fully, information should be got, knowledge should be got, and then taken to impeccable wisdom with a mathematical conclusion and symbolic language. If that is not done, its research will not have the completion to the extent required. Then come to the results and discussion. Reporting the findings and explaining their importance and implication in the field of conclusive mathematical science only, and there whatever process has come out in the research, do not delete it. I find from most of the research which I have been part of discussion directly and indirectly, they pick and choose the data which suits them to what is the result which will be accepted by everybody. So this is a very idiotic way of research. You have a result, everybody has done, so I should produce the same result. So you tinker with it such a way that anything which is different you eliminate, and you take only that and try to make it zero. So your the p value, this value, that value, that is also defect, and I do not agree with that. Whatever is the result should be presented as it is, and that could be discussion for further discussion. In my students who have been under me, I have encouraged them to data as such, and let us move on. And no wonder all the 3 subjects students who did under me, all of them were highly commendable work, because there was a truth in that, there was a clarity, there was nothing hidden in the process, but the new ideas which appeared in the process of looking at the entire thing was much more amazing than required. Now come to the conclusion and references. Summarizing the key messages, acknowledging limitations, properly citing all sources. By breaking research into these genuine modules, each step can be independently documented, shared and evaluated, promoting transparency. This is what everybody is doing it. But as far as I am concerned, I never wanted anything to be left with what's question to be done. Whatever is required has to be complete and without any doubt left. There are other collaterals which can be added later, but there should be consistency in the process. There should not be any gap at all. That was what it meant, and that should be the conclusion. That should be referenced with a precise, concise point to the stage. What you have in mind, stick to that and make all the points within that. Don't go here and there just for nothing, otherwise it's going to be a problem by and large. Now come to the question of impeccable essence. By breaking the research into these genuine modules, each step can be independently documented, shared, evaluated, promoting transparency, ensuring the overall quality and trustworthiness of research. And this, what I mean is, each research would have many components that, but each component can be a thesis or component, and the publication of articles could be one subject. For that matter, my first PhD scholar in Chettinad University, Naik, we produced 9 articles out of his research, and all 9 are cited, 6 are in Scopus, highly commendable. That should be the objective. Each part should be independently presented as a full book itself, full document itself. If you don't have that, for that matter, I am talking about 64 arts and sciences, and I mean all of them put together as one, but it is equivalent to 64 books also at the same time. And if that is the thing, research should be done in that particular concept. Now to come to the research of my PhD thesis, I am going to show you a few examples which were done in the University of Madras, and I applied for 1993, registration 95, and work up to 2001 and done. And results of that which are standing out, I am going to show you few examples to prove my point of a genuine research which will never be changed, and that it should. Now this particular picture is unusual result. In other words, you can see in this particular picture, upper picture with the open eyes, you can see with samadhi the type of power is phenomenal. The common subject, by and large, you don't see alpha with eyes open, you can see only power. That was first thing. Second thing, now let me explain to you what is normal EEG. Normal EEG accepted through the world of 100 years, 10.5 Hz alpha frequency from posterior part of the brain. Only when eyes are closed, mind is at rest. Rest of the brain does not show alpha at all, and that is what you are seeing down as such. But very moment you open eyes, alpha is reduced and is replaced by beta, and power comes down. That is the reality of the whole thing. This is thing. But in PhD work, I could produce high percentage of alpha frequency in samadhi state, concentrating the brain, which is phenomenal, almost 3 to 5 times more than anybody else could ever do it. And I am sorry to say, nobody has been able to replace this, and this was done over 5 years of work, consistently improving from 10.5 Hz and coming up to 8 Hz over a period is again the point. Many neuroscientists said the EEG is which cannot be changed, but I have changed from 10.5 Hz up to 8 Hz over a period. I think that was a phenomenon. Now I am going to show you at a later date as I go on further. In 2018, this particular EEG is taken with eyes closed, and you can see 8.5 Hz throughout the brain completely in all the 16 parts or 32 parts are the 64 parts of the brain, left and right, from front, middle to the back, everywhere is 8.5 Hz consistent, you can see, with eyes closed. Now with eyes open, the concentration from 8.5 Hz comes to 8 Hz, and I think that was a phenomenon. That means with eyes open, you are able to see the world, but your mind is not disturbed. You are bringing down to the level which is equivalent to universal consciousness. Once you come to that particular level, that means you and your universe, everything is one with tune, and I think that is a phenomenon. No one in the world has been able to produce this as such, and I think this is very, very clear. So till now, I am going to show you the few conclusions of this in the neuroscientists, so that you know in neuroscience this research, what a wonder it has done. Now come to the question of the divine message, the carry home messages. No neuroscientist of the world knows the function of the 3 outer layers of neocortex at all. It's very unfortunate. Neuroscientists of the world are doing research, but they don't even know the functions of the first 3 outer layers, which are outermost part. They only know all the sensory neuron information from the rest of the body come to the 4th layer, and from fourth layer it goes to interneurons and motor neurons, and information comes from that. Everything is restricted up to fourth layer only. First, second and third, they don't even know what kind of research is. And my concentration was in samadhi. I am concentrating on these three layers and the higher consciousness. No wonder I am able to bring to 8 hertz where others cannot bring down from here. They cannot produce alpha throughout the brain, only posterior part which is sensory component, not motor component. And that is the neuroscience which I am talking about. And we need a research which can be beyond any comparison, without any doubt at all. And no wonder in the process, over a period, step by step, through being close to things, the question analyzing the knowledge in mathematics, which was man-made, defective to make it divine mathematics, with the divine mathematics, the divine physics, divine chemistry, divine biology and divine thing. Now I can say something which has never been done in the history of mankind, for that matter. All the medical people throughout the world, I say except Shiv Bhushan Sharma, nobody even knows what is the perfect female menstrual cycle. Forget about anything else. Such a basic thing like a female menstrual cycle, no medical man any part of the world except Shiv Bhushan Sharma knows that. It's very unfortunate. But fact is, that is the kind of science which I want the world to know. And with that we move on to the next stage. Now coming to this stage, everything from A to Z of the entire universe is present in this. I am not going to talk about it. I think one point which has made it very clear, unless until we do a genuine research, subjectively, objectively, with the experiment experience within you, only that research is relevant. Every other research where you have no control over the subject, other thing, has no relevance. As a result, all the rules of the research throughout the world, from highest to lowest, from name anything, is defective, defective, defective. We need to change it. We should do research, only then we will come to the impeccable wisdom, otherwise not possible. With that, let me say thank you very much. I have shown what a genuine research should be there, and this is almost 24 years after my completion, and nobody has done even single job on that. Is very unfortunate. Anyway, thank you very much.